Hi, this is Erica DELSIGNORE. I am the founder of Daily Lead Campaign, where we get you leads through LinkedIn and through YouTube and through video marketing. Today you're watching Great Minds, Great Marketing, which is a video interview series that I've created where I bring entrepreneurs from around the world to you who have fantastic ideas to share with us on how to grow our business and talking about some of the strategies that they have and some of the challenges as well. And so I am really excited to bring to you Tim Johnson. He is the king of connections, and he has some fantastic information about how he does business in an old school type of way, which I know a lot of you can relate to. We're going to find out more about this today. Thank you so much, Tim, for being on the show.
Thanks for having me. I love it.
Fantastic. All right. So first, Tim, I'd love to find out a little bit about you personally before we get into business. What is it that you do for fun, and what your family and that sort of thing, before we delve into all of the hard-nosed business stuff that you do on a daily basis.
Well, I got four kids, and I have one grandbaby, and I have another grandbaby on the way, be delivered here shortly. So I,
Congratulations.
thank you. I love scuba diving, so I love going just different places. I think that what's up in the world is just as pretty as what's underneath the water.
Mhm.
So to me, it gives you that hour. Like some people wake up early in the morning. It gives you an hour just to kind of relax and kind of let your mind go free of what's possible. You see all kind of amazing things. So
Did you go? Did you go on the cruise? Did you go scuba diving in one of the locations?
I did. I went. So I don't know if you know Alan Cuss. Do you know him?
No. I
Okay.
probably don't know anyone that you're mentioning because I the first time on the cruise, so
So we Alan Cuss is a guy that's been going on like 8 or 9 cruises. We booked outside of the cruise ship. So we dove in 2 places. We dove in Grand Cayman and we dove in Cozumel. So we did a drift dive, which is you'll dive down and about a mile and a half later you come up and the boat kind of follows you. So
wow.
you got to yeah. So it's fun. It's just
What did you see?
uh, well, I understood that sharks and eels like to sleep together. So that was funny. We seen a lot of sea turtles,
Wow.
seen a lot of grouper, a lot of different just Uh, Cozumel or Grand Cayman was okay. I mean, it's still fish, but Grand Cayman or Cozumel, I mean, was absolutely amazing. Just the fish and where we dove and the people that we dove with was off the wall dive shop in Cozumel was just amazing. I mean, it's just guys were good. Took us down to where all the fish were. Just very professional. I mean, it was just amazing.
Oh, that's incredible. I've only done one dive on my honeymoon, but it was incredible. I have a picture of a squid on my hand, grabbing onto my hand, and I also saw the sea turtles, and there was a barracuda far off. I was glad he didn't really come our way, but
About shark sleeping. So I mean, you just and most of the time, they're just we have a lot of times you get school of fish following you, and they're just creating what I call they just getting in there and they just follow you around. It makes it kind of fun. So
yeah, no, that's so fun. It was scary for me. It was my first time and my only time, but for people that do it all the time, it's just what a different world it is down there.
exactly. Well, but I mean, you remember, there's humans haven't we dive and of course some of the stuff gets it, but for the most part, I mean, it's untouched. You know what I mean? It's not like we have human traffic and all that stuff going in there. I mean, storms do stuff. I was diving in Acapulco probably a month and a half ago, and 2 years ago a tsunami hit it, and
Oh,
I never heard about it on the news. But you see all the concrete underwater, and it kind of tells a different story.
wow.
They've rebuilt everything since then, but you can still see all the wreckage that's been underneath the water and the places. So you see the coral growing and just the dive places. It makes it fun.
Wow, that is definitely an interesting type of a tour to go on. Way different than what most people get to see when they go on vacation. That's fantastic. All
Absolutely.
right, so we're gonna dive right in, pun intended. Let's talk about what you do for business, and if you can share a challenge that may have turned out great in the end, or maybe it was a lesson learned but something that our listeners can dig their teeth into.
I think one of the biggest challenges is, as business owners, is trying to get our word out there. For many years, I did a lot of seminars, I did a lot of places, but really never took action. It was, I already own a real estate company, and, how to market it correctly, how to be positioned in the market as an expert. Well, there's so many seminars that give you just enough, but never solve the problem. So to me, that was a challenge for many years. It was really just getting the right messaging out. You go up to somebody, you're like, it's like in a funnel world. I'm going to build you a funnel. And they go, where's that? Where I put my oil in my car? You know what I mean? So really people don't, and I'm not in the marketing space as much as I'm in the business development space. So I know a lot of business owners that I know, don't get me wrong. So I went in and got digital marketer certified. I'm in the process of getting Infusionsoft certified. Not so much to sell it, but to understand what's possible. And I think when you go out and you educate yourself, that was a huge struggle, because at the beginning I would refer people and they really had no idea what they were doing. They had a great talk, they had a great game, they were doing all kinds of stuff, but really never vetted them hard enough. And it only takes a couple bad eggs, and it can really ruin your business. So I just started a very, very strong vetting process on what events I would go to. I didn't want to become an event whore. Was I lead harvesting? Was I not doing that? So, for 4 or 5 years, I just went to events. You get business cards and you go home and they stack on your desk and you don't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, if you want to give just a quick overview on what you do, that would be awesome.
Well, what I do is so a lot of different, like Clint Arthur and Dave Van Hoos and a lot of the big boys, Mike Filsaime, I really just take what's in the front of the stage and put it to the back of the stage. So to me, it's like, the speaker on the stage is speaking Mandarin, and they're trying to speak English to business owners that come in that actually have money and want to spend money because they have problems like I was talking about. And I think what my greatest gift is breaking it down to obviously making that speaker the obvious choice with whom to work with. Mm-hmm. And I think when we go out, like, if you tell someone, oh, I do ads, great, what does ads do? I mean, I want to dive in. It's usually the message that we're not told or that we're not willing to share is what connects us with people. So we have 90 minutes usually on stage as a speaker, or, you have less than 30 seconds. And, we want to get married the first time we meet somebody. They haven't sat back long enough, and we know, for example, and one of the things that I always tell my clients is, 68% of men, 68% of women cheat on men before men cheat on women, which most people don't believe that, but we forgot to pay attention to people and make them feel warm and fuzzy. And I'll give you a personal challenge in my life. My first marriage was a lot like that. I worked 12 hours a day. I could blame, she ended up messing around and doing stuff. I could blame it on her, but it was really the cause of my actions. I forgot to pay attention to her. I was working all the time, and then when I didn't want to hang out with my friends a couple times a month, I was taking more time away, and it was part of my kids as well. I think sometimes you identify the problems in a situation. You can only fix you and you only. So what I'm really good at is, like I said, I'm the business development manager, Satisfactory. I have a few other JV services that people that I know in business need, and I kind of refer them my way. So when I talk, a lot of people hear me say my brother or this is one of my sisters, and I usually do that. Erica's badass. I mean, here's the 4 or 5 reasons why you need to use her, and this is what I've seen her do in my businesses and many other businesses before. But because of my demeanor and the way that I vet people, most people come to me because generally it's not going to be a bullshit session. It's going to be, I've literally spent months and months diving into her business. I've seen the results. I've seen what she's done. And most people come to me because they generally have, and it could be anything. It could be lead harvesting. It could be just as easy as follow-up after an event. So a lot of businesses I work for, they forgot to go back and give their clients what I call the Walt Disney experience. The more that you make them feel good, what most of us do in our personal relationships, especially people that have been married a long time, don't call your wife for a month and see if she's still there. Good luck with that. And it's about, becoming that. And the more technology driven we are, the more you're going to be left behind because you forgot to pay attention to those people. They came to you. Obviously, you have a solution that will solve one of their problems and put more money in their bank. And what Clint always says, so one of the things he says is I kind of take what between your two ears and I put it in the bank. So dial in the message in, like what I do for Clint. Clint helps people elevate their status in a way that makes them the obvious choice with who their customers want to do business with. It elevates them just to a point that, they're just chosen. I mean, they might have a book, they might have a media tour, they might have gone on TV, they might have went to our Harvard event. At our Harvard event that we hold, one of our clients just gave his video to his salespeople, and this is the power of what you do, Erica. It's just simple. You just took that one video, and somebody had an I love Harvard bumper sticker on his thing, and within 4 hours of that meeting starting, the guy signed was like a $78,000 contract to have some construction work done.
Wow. Fantastic.
Yep. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, so you're connecting people with the services that they need to, bring their business to the next level and help them make a lot more money.
Right, but everybody says they do video marketing, or they say they do funnels, or they say they help elevate your status. But really, remember, you only have 30 seconds to make a great impression. Right. So if you're going to try to do that yourself, good luck. Now you sound like you're bragging about yourself. But if I go out, because I do about 40 events a year, if I'm bragging about you, what does that sound like? So I created one of the easiest systems. So I use a system called Fix Your Funnel. Like if people want to text money to my number, it literally takes them and explains who I am and the 4 really key things that I focus in on business, so that helps them make more money. And that's right down to a wallet mailer. Like I have, if you remember the old wallet mailers from the old days.
I got an example of that. That's really cool.
Yeah. Well, you remember, we're anchoring a wallet because people understand that money generally comes out of their wallet, and if we can help it put it back in their wallet. Here's the thing. I'm an old school guy just using technology in a way to build the best relationships, what I call my board of directors. Most people call me up. I created a business when there was nobody doing it. People want, on a generalization, I go to bed, they're like, Timmy, oh my God, I'm hemorrhaging money. I'm like, okay, let's go through a budget sheet because I'm an investor. And then you see a lot of what they're not using anymore. They're not. Okay, they don't know what their events cost. They don't know, how many. They bought all these programs over the years, and there's $3.99 or $1.99, and they have all these stuff, but they've never looked at their credit card. They just pay it every month. Well, once they do that, it's just easy. Then at that point, if you're having trouble, that's why when we were talking on the boat, it's so easy to fix your business if you can identify the problem. If you can't identify the problem, like, listen, if they need leads out of LinkedIn, that's exactly what you do. They're like, oh, I want to do my LinkedIn profile. Great. Okay. But once you do that, what are you doing with it? How is it going to make money? And it's not. So obviously, most of the time as an investor, because I look at what is the ROI. I generally, even if I refer a client, I still follow up with them to find out where they are. Like, is it good? Is it not? And then I go back to what I call my board of advisors. That's people like you. And I say, listen, this is what I'm hearing. And this is kind of what people are saying. Because I think sometimes the message we say is not what people receive. And I give you a perfect example. My daughter is probably one of the most biggest pain in my butt. But I have a grandbaby. So I wanted to be able to talk to her in a way. So I hired a personality coach to help me to understand. And the biggest takeaway I took from that was, this is like, she's on my board of directors to help me be able to talk to my daughter in a different way. So my conversations, because anytime you tell your kids to do something, they go, oh my God, they get like a deer in headlights, like freak out, like Dad's going to say something. So instead of doing that, especially women that, women or men that maybe have been battered or are different things, just saying, hey, listen, would you like me to give you sugar or medicine? Because then I'm open. If they say that they're not interested, then you just don't say nothing. But some
Right.
people, really, you're opening the conversation in a way that, like, listen, I can help you, but it may sting a little bit. Well, obviously, when I got on the phone with one of my coaches, I said, she says, you're an idiot. I said, yeah, probably so. So what part of my demeanor, I have a goatee, I got tattoos, my daughter seen me, I was a drywaller for many years in business and did a lot of, we have some franchises, some other stuff we worked on with my mentor, Barry Falcon. I was very blessed to be able to work with something like that. But what was cool is I started to identify there's really 4 personality traits, whether you call it winter, spring, summer, fall, disc assessments, that language that we say from stage will identify with the people specifically that are like us. But we're missing out on the other 75% of business because what we're speaking doesn't speak to the client or doesn't give them why we should be the obvious choice with who they work with.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I used to own a recruiting company for 6 years, specialized in just salespeople. So I was a distributor for DISC, and I did DISC assessments on everybody before I set them out on interviews. And it was a really great way to have me stand out, um, with my clients because, all they used to get were like just an overview of the client and the candidate and some interview questions and answers. But I also sent the DISC assessment, and I also DISC assessed them, which really sold them on it because, man, those DISC assessments are 99% correct. I had unlimited for about a month when I first started the business. They gave it to you unlimited, and so I did my whole family, friends, and spits out the 32-page report, and it was amazing. People were reading it in awe. I mean, even right down to like the types of magazines they like to read. So really cool stuff. I'm a high I. You look like
I,
a D to me.
I am.
Yeah.
Well, what is it, DH or DM or something?
You
I,
could be a
I
DI or you're most likely a DI sometimes. An I is more of the influencer, so that's kind of like the happy-go-lucky. A lot of salespeople are either Ds or Is or a mixture of both when they're at work, when they're out of, when they're out of their comfort zone. I'm a high I in both my natural and in my work
okay.
life. I don't really change, and so that can be a drawback at times.
So I've studied it. So now I've studied disc. I've studied other things a little more than I have disc. So I'm generally the creator, the lord, or the mechanic. So I'm very diverse on the left side of what some of those places are because I become a chameleon.
Hmm.
So like if I'm working with somebody and they're very sensitive, then only time that I ever step up. So I was a rehab coach for an all women's run RIA, and we sold more because all I did was like, can you imagine having that kind of powerful woman standing behind you? Like, and you get all the guys in the room, like, how many of you husbands actually have a very successful woman behind you? And literally, the buyer retention went way down in the room because I'm the biggest guy in there. Okay, but the women understand. So every time I would do, I would always revert back to the speaker. Like, right, Linda, this is exactly what you do on a daily basis. Well, the women in the room then felt like we really cared about them because now they could come to a safe haven place where they could invest and knew that we had their back. So
Yeah.
sometimes just changing the language programming and knowing who you're talking to very quickly and still following up. Make sure that, don't sell them into something. And that's why I sold almost $8 million worth of services last year is because people continually keep coming to me based on a problem they have. It could be they're trying to raise capital. It could be, hey, they need some kind of marketing, whether it's Facebook, whether it's like you said, video marketing. We've used that all religiously, but we forgot a lot of times is I think even in video or stuff, does the message really dive in the story that we never tell? My dad was executed on death row on national TV. Um, I was beaten as a child, a lot of foster homes. One of my best friends shot his dad in the face. But when I get on stage and I tell that story, it's like a hero's journey. It's like people start to understand that it may be possible to do more than what I really thought possible because my life was never that bad. And people come up and they go, oh my God, I am so sorry. Oh my God. And I'm like, why are you sorry? God gave me a gift to share with the world that most of you can't comprehend, But if I can do it, why can't you? You know, so you can look at it as a
That's a really great story to tell. And when I'm doing these interviews, I hear some of the craziest stories and how people come back from it. I mean, I think outsiders think that entrepreneurs just have oh, you have a business, so you're successful. They don't realize that it can be an up and down. And I just got off an interview when someone told me that they lost everything 6 years ago. They moved to another country, and like one of the days, they only had $20 in their pocket. Now they got another check in the next day from one of their clients, but it's like, well, that was a tough day for me. But I was out there and I was looking at beautiful scenery, and I had $20, and hoping that next sale came in. But I'm like, yeah, it's totally like that.
well, if you could worry about what you didn't have. Well,
Right,
we live in the 90th percentile of the world. So I don't care how broke, homeless, or anything. I mean, you can walk behind McDonald's about 2 in the morning and get all the food you want, and it's still
right.
wrapped. You know, you go over to a friend of mine, Jonathan Otto, is actually on a quest in Kenya right now, and he literally found out that they were having a famine. He seen a photo. He went over there, and I think he's already raised like $30,000 through GoFundMe. And I mean, the people over there are like starving to death. I mean, dude, I'm a big guy. I'm like 225 pounds, and these people over there, you're lucky. They're a foot taller than I am, and they're like 90 pounds. I mean, and so you, you take whatever you want, but a lot of times when I sit down in the back of the room, I hear all kind of stories. People tell me stories all the time, and I'm like, listen, you can either concentrate on the story. Have you ever seen the Give Kids?
I have a little 4-year-old. I think you met her.
I did. That's why I was
Yeah,
asking.
yeah.
So, has you ever watched Kung Fu Panda?
She doesn't like it. We can't seem to get through the movie, but we've seen the first half a few times. I like it.
So, there's an expression in it that says, yesterday is history, tomorrow's a mystery, and today's the present. That's why it's called the gift. If we don't
No,
concentrate,
I like that one. Yep, I like that one.
and most people, don't really identify with that. I mean, we can do or be whatever we want to be. It's what you concentrate on. It's I started something called the stupid movement. I wanted to be the stupidest guy in the room because if I was, the people that I was surrounding myself or
Yeah,
people that I've referred over the years was really just become the smart, talented, unique person. Okay, I think all of us are that way in some kind of sort. What I really do is I just make them in demand. Okay, so even like Clint, so I helped, when Clint 3 years ago, when him and I were together, I was at the event. I asked him go upstairs and fill out the GCASE Info Market of the Year. He did. He won. 2 years later, he calls me up, man, nobody's selling me. No one seems to be able to get sponsors. Within 7 months, we put a lot of money in his bank. I ended up getting sponsored, but really what I did is I go out and find places where the client and the customer can become family
hmm,
because I really didn't have one growing up. So I really kind of created a board of directors of the most badass people that I consider that really are not all about the money, but they're really just all about the results. And when
right.
someone has a story like that that's similar, what I don't think it's very hard to put them in demand. They become a process, and most people. I have video testimony after video testimony of how I've changed their message and I've doubled their income. Really didn't do it. A lot of them, they're like, "Oh my God, that's so awesome," and I didn't. All I did was kind of take their message and kind of re-diversify it to where the average third grader can understand it in 30 seconds or less.
So that's a really great lesson for the audience is that, really you have to try different things and see what resonates. Don't just say something because it seems right to you. You really need
Okay.
to find out. And I think with the advertising that I do, like something that I've noticed is that you're really like we do better with the different ads that we have with different combinations with a different picture matched with
Right.
4 different headlines. And it's so interesting to me because I'm looking for pictures to use in these advertisements that I think catch my eye, and sometimes those are the ones that fail. And
Right.
other ones are like the number one just comes out of nowhere, and you're like, wow, this one got like 90% of the clicks, and the other ones were like just dwindling. So you pause those campaigns and you you keep adding new pictures, new headlines, and mixing and matching them together to see what's really going to pull. And that's the same thing with how you're up there. You're talking about your message. You got to make sure that you know who your audience is, and you really convey the message the way that they want to hear it. I love your example about referring back to the woman in the room, because you just never know. I could stand up and say, oh, I was laid off at 7 months pregnant, the men, blah, blah, blah. But 95% of my clients are men, so they're probably not going to care about that as much. So I don't say that. I don't ever say that. All I do is really, talk about the results.
If we're in a women's empowerment event, or you could do that, you would share that story. Say, listen, people, it's just about breaking it down and being emotional. Like, hey, you know what? Can I share a story? And I tell people when I shared mine with you is, can I share a story with you? And then all of a sudden, everybody that's in the audience goes,
yeah, exactly.
And then when you go,
they can't believe that you're sharing that story. They can't believe it.
But what you just did is all their wall that they have up in that room is going to be pretty much knocked down because you just became real. It's one of those things when we give people the way out by the way we talk. Like, I'll give you mine. So obviously I busted you for a minute. Mine is always at the end of every conversation, I go, right, right, right. And you sound retarded. You sound like an idiot on TV, because I've done 26 TV appearances all over the world. And I go, right? Then it was absolutely. I'm like, absolutely, absolutely. Right? I sound like one of those robots that you get, you go to the thing and you keep hitting the button and it goes, right?
I have some favorite words that I keep using too, and it's so hard when you're in the moment, especially on TV though. I mean,
right.
You can't, right? You can't always, you can't always take that stuff out when you're just trying to get it right, because it's live TV and you've got to get your information. I know exactly what you mean.
Well, in coming into any business, I mean, if we start to identify that, we're not afraid to open up and tell our story, because people identify with stories. You can connect with them in a whole nother plane, and most people are like, oh my God, I don't want anybody to know that about me. And you're like, why not? I mean, that's what people are going to connect with you, and if they've seen you do it, like you said, I'm 7 months pregnant, I lost my job. Well, most men would be like, yeah, whatever, shut up, right? But if you're in a women can identify with that. I identify with that. When you're like, I remember when my wife was 7 months pregnant, we had just, we were just having our second kid, and we moved to Georgia, and my uncle's like, oh yeah, we're going to make all this money. I get down there, I worked all day. He paid me $50 for 16 hours worth of laying carpet. And I'm like, I just left a job making $1,000 a week. He sold me in a pipe dream, and then I had to make it back. And I think those stories that we tell ourselves and identifying with that kind of takes us to a whole nother level where we don't try to do anything. We just know that it's, if we surround ourselves, that's why I always like to, I like to be the stupidest guy in the room. And generally when I mentor under somebody, or if I'm going to sell them, that's why I spend a month, 2 months, because if everybody says that, they go, oh, you know what? I do video marketing too. Well, if I was selling Erica, I'm like, did you do the, hey, by the way, did you tag it right? Was your audience right? Was it a lot of the stuff that I know? But the reason that I sell most people is there's a lot of agencies and a lot of stuff that say that, but they've never completed it to another level. Right. And I think it's that type of salesmanship that goes in and takes it to another level.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And I think too, like with the storytelling, when you start to open up, I remember it explained to me, one of the Dan Kennedy CDs I was listening to, and it was just like, there's like different things in your life that are going to be a dog whistle to certain people in your audience. So he's mentioned stuff like he's a recovering alcoholic. He used to have a gambling problem. He's got diabetes. He's been divorced. All this stuff. But there are people in the room, he says, like sometimes after I'm done talking on stage, someone will wait 20 minutes for the rest of the crowd to go away so that they can have that private conversation with me. And, the first time I did it, I talked about growing up poor and pretty poor, living in low income, single mom, 2 kids. We only saw her on Sundays. We raised ourselves. And the first time I told the story was to my BNI group because someone said you should really open up and talk about your life. And I was like beet red in the face. I was so like embarrassed while I was telling the story. But I had several people come up to me after and say, you know, we grew up poor too. But it was like, it was so embarrassing to me at the time.
How much more fulfilled did you feel? Because the minute you told that story, people came up like, oh my God, I totally resonate with you. They want to
Yeah,
do more business with you because you're being real. You're not
exactly.
setting out on your story. You're standing face to face. And, that's why I like third party edifications. If hey, listen, a lot of times I can identify problems with people, and a lot of times it's not their business, their mindset. And a lot of times you got to get to that like really, really quickly. It's like, listen, I was on a cruise and I just walked up to a girl and I just identified because I had a lot of sisters growing up, a lot of stuff. And there's a testimonial on my King of Cheap page. She said literally within 3 weeks she had her first 5-figure week, 6 years of business. And all I did was walk up and said, "Are you beautiful?" She started bawling. And she's hired coaches, she's hired all these people, and I'm like, do you have a cheerleader or do you have a mentor? Because most people in the personal development space are just there to try to. They're like oh, just come back to me week after week and give me more money, and I'll see if I can solve your problem. And I just told her, I'm like, okay, you're a teacher. You've been doing this business for 30 years.
Mm.
Why are you solve more problems every single day for those kids and the parents so they could graduate? What happened to you? Well, she'd been through divorce and some other bad things. And I said, listen, stop feeling sorry for yourself. It's okay to say no. Stop letting people take advantage of you. But and I don't mean to be that raw, but at that point, it was something that shifted her brain in 30 seconds or less, and she didn't. And she just literally, I won't say the name, but a major speaker just came to her, and she would love to do business. She sells a funnel from about 5 to 7K. She said, why get one done for 2,300? She said, you know what? When it doesn't work, come back and see me. So literally in a 3-week shift, she's gotten rid of 2 of her personal development coaches.
Yeah.
And I follow up with her about 15 minutes a day just to make sure she's not going back into that space. And I said, listen, stop trying. You don't have a mentor. They just like to call you on the phone. They're $125 an hour, and they want to tell you, yeah, do this worksheet, and we're gonna focus on the problem, not on the solution. And I'm just like, get, and I won't get into my language, but I'm like, holy cow! I'm like, and it just became now she understands and values her time more to the point that she's just in 3 weeks is starting to make 3 times the amount of money. Now, once she gets dialed in and she gets her systems and processes in place, it's real easy for me to refer her. Okay? Because she kept saying, why me? Why me? Well, obviously, I see the potential. You just don't.
Right.
I think a lot of people just are afraid to step out into the limelight. It's okay. Listen, no matter what's happened to you in your life, stop letting what other people tell you, your family members and all that, tell you who you need to be. And the minute you stop being that, what you can become or how much money you can make is not defined. You define it yourself.
I think that's great advice. Now, before we go, I know a lot of the people that I talk to in these interviews, they're reading great books or have taken some great courses. Are there any recommendations that you have?
The Life book.
The Life
It breaks
book?
down. Have you heard of Life book?
Light book?
Life, L-I-F-E,
No, okay.
book. It breaks down 12 parts of your life in a way to what you believe and what you can accomplish.
And that helps you take your business to the next level.
On that level, yep. And it was amazing. So I went with Davin Michaels. I had the blessings. And a lot of people don't know Davin, but Davin's like a big PD guy. He loves personal development. But he knew that like sitting in a room and just jumping up and down and going rah, rah, rah wasn't going to help me. But it's actually doing personal development through like a diary way to set your goals and what you want to become in 12 parts of your life. And it was amazing.
That's great. I mean, I know that takes a long time, but once you set it up, it's definitely worthwhile doing.
Absolutely. And then Getting to Yes.
Oh yes,
Um,
yes, it's a great book.
yeah, it was Getting to Yes was also developed by the Harvard faculty to, just show you that when someone says no, they either didn't understand your message or they're broke. Okay, but if it's a win-win for everybody, then people will do business. And I think that's one of the things we've lost in our history is that we want it now, and we're not willing to work for it. They will in other aspects of their life. I mean, like if they like a woman, it's the craziest thing what I've seen men and women do, even growing up with my sisters and all this. Watch all these stupid guys do like the most retarded things because they wanted a girlfriend. But yet, if they do it in business, they're like, oh, I'll just do it later. They never want to build that relationship. You know what I mean? And keep it going.
Exactly. Now, before we go, is there anything that you'd like to promote today? Any website or any offers that you have for the audience that might enrich their lives?
Well, if they want to find more about me, it's really easy. They can text the word money, MONEY, to 574-203-9605. Again, just text the word money to 574-203-9605. Or they can go to timothyrjohnson.com, learn more about me. I mean, if I can do anything to help anybody, your clients, friends, maybe they just need, if they're trying to get through something that they didn't think possible, a lot of times I've built the relationships and I see where I can plug them in my Rolodex. Because I think when you do that, I would rather serve first and go out, because when they need something, they generally come back to ask me for, who they might need video marketing, they might need a funnel, they just might need, something in their business that, they're missing that they just don't identify. And me too. I mean, that's why I've connected with really key people in the industry, because I vet them really hard, that the people that I surround myself, I can't do nothing but be successful, because those people I know are at the top of their game in any specific area. And we are who we hang out with.
Oh, we definitely are. Well, I really appreciate your wisdom. It was rough around the edges a little in some parts. So hopefully no one is too sure. But, I like a guy that can say it like it is.
Hey, here you get what you get. I mean, that's why I would rather stop sugarcoating something. And if I can take someone's business to the next level, and sometimes I'm a little rough, but, we always want better for our kids, but we never stop long enough to see what are we doing that affects them, because we want to protect them. We never let them be able to go out and solve their own problems. And I think that's we want it always better and better and better. My kids, I made them work for everything. And, and a lot of people would disagree with that, but it gave my kids a work ethic, because I don't want to leave a dog dish for somebody that if something happens to me, that dog dish goes away, they don't know how to survive. They don't know how to go out and make money. I don't want to give people a fish. I would rather teach them to fish for themselves. That's why I created the stupid movement. I just like, if they're smart, they're talented, they're a unique person, and they want to be in demand, that's what I help them do.
Well, there you go. Well, thank you very much for being on the show today, Tim. I really appreciate your words of wisdom, lots of interesting stories and interesting ways to put it. This is Erica DELSIGNORE, founder of Daily Lead Campaign, and you've been watching Great Minds, Great Marketing, and hopefully you've gotten a lot of entertainment and knowledge out of today's interview. We'll look forward to seeing you next time.